Hey guys, I'm the Drink Pro. Today I've got Nate Cooper with me and we're drinking Eagle Rare 17. Hey everybody, Drink Pro here. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm here with Nate Cooper. You've seen his name on the show at least a couple of times. Nate has been very generous with his pours in the past. Well, today I decided to travel to Ohio and meet up with Nate, the man, the myth, the legend himself. More of an introduction than he might deserve, but I'm going to give it to him anyway.
Howdy, everyone.
Today we've got a wonderful little pour of Eagle Rare 17. We believe this is the 2019 edition.
Correct.
We're not certain. This sample was given to Nate from an anonymous donor, the same anonymous donor who's been very generous to me. For people who don't know, the Eagle Rare 17 is part of the BTAC series, the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. There's a series of different whiskeys in that collection. They're all pretty hard to get your hands on. They're pretty rare. I think they're all actually barrel proof, are they not?
Yes. From what I understand, yes.
Yeah. So this is the 17-year edition of Eagle Rare. Most Eagle Rare is either a 10-year age stated or it's not age stated, depending on when you got the pour. So this is a little bit older. It's going to be stronger because it's barrel proof. And I'm really looking forward to this pour. For my patrons out there, this is the pour I promised you. I know it's taken a while to get it out, but it is happening today. I'm going to give Nate the first shot on nosing this. So what do you smell? Let me know what your notes are.
Caramel, vanilla, floral are the first three that I get.
I definitely agree with that vanilla and the floral. I guess I'm not getting as much of the caramel note. I get like that sweet creaminess, but
Yeah, which I guess I associate with the caramel.
yeah. I might call that butterscotch myself. I think it depends on what you smell.
Like
what
a
you pick up.
Werther's?
Yeah, like a Werther's. Yeah, the floral note's really prominent though. I get a little bit of a fruit note, some sort of dark, like maybe like a very quiet strawberry note.
Do you get any kind of like a dustiness?
Yeah, a little bit. You get that very subtle. It's not dusty corn. That's a really common note in a lot of the younger whiskeys that I get.
No, it's
or
like
the higher corn whiskeys, but
I don't know if that's the barrel. Maybe just some of the woodiness coming through.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like an old rotted out barrel.
Yeah,
Like that old, because it's not really dusty, but it's got that age to it.
some woody weirdness to it for me.
Yeah, there's a bit of like a funk, and it's a woody funk. But I will say, always felt like Eagle Rare has some of that funk already. It's taking that funk that regularly is in Eagle Rare and magnifying
Yeah.
it.
Now I do know. I think you asked about barrel proof. This is 101 proof.
Oh, okay. So this has probably been proofed down.
Yeah, so it's 101. Well, at 17 years, I know with certain ones like Wild Turkey, the 60th anniversary, for whatever reason, it's 91.1, but it's actually still considered barrel proof because they pulled it straight from the barrel.
Huh. So yeah, the Eagle Rare is 101 proof, but that is their barrel proof. That's really interesting. A lot of times people are used to barrel proof whiskeys that are much higher percentages, but I've talked about this before on the channel that the water will evaporate more quickly than the alcohol at different places in the rick house, and vice versa. Sometimes you'll have the opposite.
So would this be probably a lower floor?
Yeah, probably a lower floor. So
Because the alcohol left and the water kind of stuck around.
So the heat wasn't so high as to evaporate the water, but it was high enough to evaporate the alcohol.
And compared to the basic Eagle Rare, which is 90 proof, you're still getting a barrel proof, but it's not going to be like a Elijah Craig or a Booker's.
And that can really appeal to people. I mean, a lot of people like the barrel proof notes, the unfiltered, the unadulterated notes, but they don't want something that's 130 proof that's going to kick your ass.
Right. Yep. So for me, as we've sat here, some of that floral's gone away, and I'm getting more sweet. More of those caramel, butterscotch.
It's worth noting that coming off of the still, this whiskey is at 135 proof. When they barrel it, it's been watered down slightly to 125 proof.
Okay.
And it's coming out of the barrels at 101 proof. They lose 66% of these barrels to evaporation. So only a third of the whiskey going into the 2019 Eagle Rare 17 is actually, making it from the barrel initially into your glass. And I will say one thing that's really worth noting is this is a chill filtered product.
Okay.
Because it is 101 proof, that isn't strictly speaking necessary, but a lot of times it's still done when it's a lower proof or closer to the breaking point of 47%, because they want to make sure it has a consistent look and a consistent mouthfeel. It's not going to be overly oily or have any granule particulate in it. Now, most people that are whiskey aficionados don't care that much about it, but they still want to keep a consistency. I think in particular because Eagle Rare has a reputation
Right.
People already have a known quantity of what Eagle Rare is supposed to be. And so when you're making the product that's going to be older and more higher end, they want some kind of consistency throughout it.
Sure. Well, and the dollar amount that this type of bottle's going for,
Yeah.
you want to know what you're getting.
The color on this is actually fantastic,
It
too,
is.
I will say. This is a beautiful whiskey.
It's just not as sharp as it was for me. It's sweeter. It's a little more rounded.
I'm getting almost a cherry note now. The berries are really prominent for me in this pour. I got that strawberry early, and now it's kind of coming into like a cooked.
Maybe that was showing itself as a floral before, and it's
right off the bat, it was like cherry blossoms.
Yeah,
it was like a flower, and then it's becoming more of a cooked
geranium, right?
Yeah, not geranium. Not geranium this time. Not geranium this time.
Shit.
I'm the drink pro. What I say goes here, fucker.
It's my house, my rules. Cheers. You want to drink it?
Are you kidding? He got to sniff it
You,
for at least
you want to
20
drink
minutes.
it? You want to drink it? Huh? Are you ready? Huh?
So you're right. I actually, and part of me only asked it because I feel like Josh is always like, all right, drink. Like so quickly.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's a personal preference thing. I mean, I know people that'll sit there and nose a whiskey for literally 30 minutes before they drink it. And some people will they can't sit there and nose it more than once or twice. I mean, you got to drink the whiskey the way you like it. But, so if you want to take a drink, absolutely go ahead. I'm just going to...
Well, no, I just feel like my nose is most accurate. Like...
After a taste?
No. Nope.
No, when do you think your nose is most accurate?
When I don't overthink it.
Hmm.
So, like, the first smell or two is kind of typically when I'm like, okay, that's what it is. And then I start to second guess everything.
Interesting.
Now, as it's opened up, I think that changes a little bit, which is why time is important, because you maybe get a little more accuracy to it.
See, it keeps changing for me.
Yeah.
I think part of that is the evaporation of alcohol. It's very minute, but it does open up and have changed to the profile as you leave it open. Because I'm starting to get almost an orange note, like a chocolate covered orange. It's subtle, but it's in there.
I don't get the chocolate as much. If I get a chocolate, it's a white chocolate.
Yes. Yeah.
My wife is currently sticking her tongue out at us out the window.
All right. Shall we have a drink?
Sure.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me over.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. This is hotter than 101 proof.
This is hotter than 101.
Okay.
It's very complex. There's a lot of woodiness. There's a lot of that bitter barrel tannin in the mid palate and the finish.
It doesn't taste like the nose.
You know what really stands out to me is that the mouthfeel on this is way less oily than some of the other. Because now I've had the William LaRue, I've had the Thomas H. Handy, I've had the George T. Stagg, all the 2019s. This is the least oily mouthfeel of all of them.
It's a weird flex, man. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, just fucking burn down the video. Just shit all over it. That's fine. That's fine. Just
giving you content.
Yeah.
No, but no, you are right. It isn't. It's not like George T. Stagg, and I've had the 2019 Handy. George T. Stagg is a way better mouthfeel.
It is. The nose on this is very different for me than the taste as well. Like, I got so much cherry on the nose and strawberry and all these wonderful sweet berry flavors. But the taste is, I get a relative like herbal bitterness. Mm-hmm. And the finish shows up with a lot of that subtle wood. It's not powerful, strong, like, barrel stave wood, but it's subtle, but it's consistent. You get this like raw bitter cinnamon, and that woodiness just lingers on and on. I feel like I've got like a piece of cedar in the back of my throat.
Honestly, not my favorite.
No, it's not my favorite either. I think it's my least favorite of the
three that I've had.
Yeah,
which is, and this is probably what the second most expensive on the secondary market behind William LaRue.
It might. I don't know. Sazerac it costs a lot. This is one of the more expensive pours on the secondary market, but I think part of that's just because it's harder to find for a lot of people.
Yeah.
For me, it's just, you know what? How do you feel about regular Eagle Rare, though?
I like it.
You like Eagle Rare?
I do.
See, I'm not a big fan of Eagle Rare, which for some people is controversial, but they're trying to do something different than the standard bourbon. So, I think I err towards a more standard palate in the bourbon world. And the regular Eagle Rare doesn't really do it for me, and this similarly isn't doing it for me, but...
This isn't... See, did you say you get raw cinnamon?
Yeah.
See, I got a red hot cinnamon. The fake, like... What are those, like, jawbreaker
But there's none of that
things?
sweetness. Like, there's a sweetness with red hots that I don't get.
See, to me,
But yeah, you get this, like, bitter... It's like the bitter flavor of, like, fake sweetener. Like that aspartame. You ever get that bitter
like
back
a
flavor?
Diet Pop.
Yeah. That bitterness in a diet pop, that's what you get. It's all of that. I don't think it's a bad pour. I think it's just the palate they're going for is not mine.
No, right, and I think that's very important.
Because
if
it is
like
complex.
woody, if you like
Yes.
baking spices, if you
like herbal woody whiskey, then this is going to be right in your wheelhouse.
it's not sweet, it's not floral,
No,
it's not
no, it's herbal and it's
yeah.
woody, and it lingers. It sticks around for a while.
Yeah. So
It's got a
it's by no
long
means it's not it's a quality bourbon.
Yeah, and
It's
you
a
can tell.
quality bourbon.
You can tell it's a
Yep.
quality bourbon. It's got a
Yep.
long finish. It does a lot of things well.
Mhm.
It's just not really going to be my favorite pour. So
I think uniquely for our palates,
yeah.
we both agree it's not what we would pay secondary prices for at all. I didn't add any water to mine.
Yeah, I'll add a little bit of water just so we have a note. Just a capful.
I'm just gonna drink it.
Just going to add a few drops. It's already 101 proof, so that shouldn't make too much of a difference. But sometimes, even on the low proof whiskeys, if you don't spill them all over yourself, sometimes on the low proof whiskeys, it'll open up a little bit when you add some water. So don't be afraid to add water to things that are even relatively low. Now, I wouldn't do it to a 40% or even a 45, but this is 101. There's still got a little heat behind it.
Why not see how it changes? See if it
Certainly, because it's not my favorite.
It's not your favorite.
Yeah,
right.
it's
see
not.
if it
I'm not.
unleashes anything.
Right, I'm not. Not really missing out on anything.
That's right.
So I get a little bit more of that cherry showing up. The fruit starts to just become present very subtly, very quietly. But the herbalness is still very prominent. The woodiness is still there in the back of the palate. Not much changes. It may bring out a little bit of the fruit note, but not enough to make me want to, buy it instantly and say, I'll just add a little bit of water. It'll be fine. No, it's not really.
That much.
No, it really doesn't. So I'm really glad I got to try it. That's really good information to have.
Yeah, of course.
But, God, it smells so good, though. I wish
know.
it tasted as good as it smelled. All right, well, I'm going to finish this pour, and Nate's going to have to get himself another. But in the meantime, you all keep drinking like professionals. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.